Hi, Buttface, look this way. I'm not doing that.
Hey, listen, Buttface.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen,
Buttface.
I think you could probably guess what we're playing.
The Ocarina of Wasting Time.
So, when this game came out, I didn't realize that I was saying Ocarina wrong this whole time.
What did you say?
Ocarina?
That's so weird. I said Hermione.
Hermione? I saw a picture of, what are we going to name our character, by the way?
Buttface.
Buttface?
I don't think we have... Do we have enough even characters for that?
We should have enough characters for Buttface. Oh, no, I don't think so.
That's what I'm saying. Butt fact.
Buttface is perfect.
Yes.
There's 8 characters, and, alright, let's go, Buttface.
And it should pass all filters.
I don't see why not. A new game on Ocarina of Time. I saw this picture of the girl that played 11 meeting Hermione, and Hugh Jackman's in the background just like, this is cool. I'm okay with this. This is alright.
That's heartwarming.
It was very heartwarming to see. It's fun to see actors meet the people they look up to.
Oh, look, another game that starts with Link waking up.
He's just sleeping all the time.
He's a sleepy boy.
I don't know, man. I've been sleeping on my taco lately, and it's done wonders for my back. And something tells me that his wooden bed there, he sleeps with his eyes open too, which is insane. See, you wouldn't be able to see that in the olden days. Oh, his weird little shudder that he does too. It's so creepy.
He doesn't want to get up.
He sleeps like Gandalf. He sleeps with his eyes open, ever aware of his surroundings, except whenever Pippin's like, I'm gonna take this all-seeing orb real quick.
You know,
is that cool?
After multiple times of him catching them screwing stuff up,
Right.
the first time you meet them in the first movie, he's like, I should have known it was you two screw-ups.
It is.
He still lets it happen.
Every time.
That's on Gandalf at that point.
Right. Like you kind of let this happen. 4 other hobbits in Rivendell, they show up and are like, hey, we're coming too. And Gandalf's like, I mean, what are you going to do? What can you do, honestly? Oh, come hither. Gotta hit the button there. There we go.
There we are.
Oh, man. Oh, Navi the fairy, listen to my words, the words of the Deku tree. Dost thou sense it?
Is it Deku?
It's Deku.
Are you just making, like, because I would believe you. Don't.
Deku? No one, I've never heard that anyone say it, like, correctly before.
Look, we always talk about how we have a tenuous, at best, grasp of pronunciations of made-up words and translated words. And
I'm gonna say things the way I said them when I was a kid. Kokiri.
Sure.
I didn't say Kokiri.
I'll go with that.
I hear a lot of people say Kokiri, and I'm like, okay, I missed the meeting on when to pronounce Zelda stuff.
That's the thing is, a lot of the stuff that we grew up with, we grew up kind of enjoying on some level alone.
Right.
There was no subreddit to join. There was the
internet existed, and there were like walkthroughs, but that was it.
You could, if you happen to be like a Star Trek or a Simpsons fan, you can get on the Usenet boards.
The Usenet boards.
Yeah,
Jeez.
that's right. Old.
That is old, man. Trying to think that
./nerd.
When I was growing up, we had like a little computer class, and
typing.
We used Netscape Navigator.
Ooh.
And I always thought it was weird because hatred for Internet Explorer has long been a thing. It's just
always
everyone. Like my computer teacher in school was like, "All right, use Netscape Navigator," and I said, "But this button says Internet," and she says, "I said use Netscape Navigator. Do what I say." And I said, "All right." Why don't you just take it easy, all right?
I think it's still pretty much standard procedure whenever you buy any Windows product is to download a browser.
Immediately.
That's kind of step one. I remember for a while I was coaxed into using Opera.
What was that about?
Do you remember Opera?
I remember Opera. I knew someone that did Opera. They worked in medical billing and coding, and they worked from home also.
You know,
and they loved Opera. That was their go-to browser. And this was, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, this was probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, Opera was big about a decade ago.
I remember the big selling point for me personally was you got so much real estate on the screen.
Oh, really?
Everything kind of tucked away, and it was real slim, light, ran super quick. So it wasn't bloated like some of the old browsers were. They've slimmed a lot of them down now, and obviously, like, you know, even Chrome and all that stuff's great. But man, Opera, when it was going good, it was going real good.
Right. We're about to meet Saria here.
A little netbook there.
I always said Saria too. I hear people say Saria, and I go, no, her name is Saria.
Saria, it's Saria.
It's the preferred nomenclature, and I'd appreciate if you show some respect.
Look at him go.
Hey, Yahoo! Hi,
You forgot.
Hi, Buttface.
It's the little things in life.
I did forget. Oh, naming characters in this game has always been a thing for me. I know this game like the back of my hand, okay? I've been playing it
Sure.
for a long time now. I know where everything is. I know where all the stuff is. I picked this game because we previously discussed it, and I wanted to pick out some comfort food tonight.
We're on the run where you name your character Buttface. You know what I mean? We're not taking it super serious. It's just a fun romp.
Before this, I made some... I didn't make anything. My wife did because she's wonderful. She made chicken noodle soup, and she made tomato soup for herself. This game controls a little funky on this controller. Yeah, it's a little weird. Might have to mess with that a little bit. It's like up is
it is
a little bit to the right there, because I'm using a real N64 controller here, and we're playing on genuine hardware. If I were to be playing on an emulator, the one that I'd recommend is Project 64. But that's not what we're playing on. We're playing on a Nintendo 64 that was released in the year of our Lord 1998.
And you
96.
Certainly,
oh God, they're on to me.
Certainly wouldn't retrofit an Xbox controller.
No, surely. Who would do that?
That's insanity.
What monster would do something
like that? Drinking Pepsi out of a Coke bottle.
So I named my character Naburu one time, and I did this just for a laugh. And the laugh doesn't happen for a long time in the game. Near the end of the game is when I was waiting for the laugh to happen. You meet a character named Naburu. She asks you what your name is. The little ... thing pops up, and it says, Naburu, that's a funny name. And I go, that's your name. All that. I spent hours of my life leading up to... They're just a joke.
At least the payoff was worth it.
The payoff was totally worth it. And I'd do it again if I could.
I remember having joke names like that, though, where you knew, like you said, certain lines of dialogue or the way they would phrase certain things would become funny.
They would become funny. Little things like that. But after you're on your 27th playthrough of this game, you're like, all right, what am I going to do this time? What's going to be different now?
Yeah.
So I picked this game because I wanted something comfortable, because it's been a comfortable evening. I had some soup. It's kind of cold outside. I made some coffee. You're here now, and you make me feel nice.
We're settled in. Don't say it like that.
Oh, sorry. We need a shield now, and I need 40 rupees to get a shield. And the way you get 40 rupees...
10?
This is the first time I ever farmed anything when I was a kid. You just jump along here, along these little blocks here, and you get 5 rupees. Whoop. Then you go in the store. Now, hi, Buttface, look this way. No, I'm not doing that.
Hey, listen, Buttface.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen,
Buttface.
You go back out here, you jump over the rocks again, and then you get another 5 rupees. And this takes a bit.
Do you remember we were having a conversation not that long ago about specifically old Nintendo games?
Okay.
NES games and Super NES games.
Old fart stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to you having a Noah's Ark game, and there was also
There was a trilogy.
There was at least 2 that I remember specifically playing, though.
2, like, Bible games, you mean? Just in general?
2 Bible-themed games that were, like, a split on one.
I remember
cartridge.
which one did you mention just now? Noah's Ark?
There's like a Noah's Ark themed one where you would go pick up animals and throw them in your boat.
That's the one I remember. It wasn't bad. It was kind of fun.
And I think there was a similar one where you would herd sheep. And like you would, same concept. You would throw the sheep into like a pen or something.
It's the same game.
Or is that just the different?
They just reskinned it. They just slapped a different cover on it. And said, "All right, now you're Cain. You're gonna do a bad thing, Cain."
Oh no!
Spoiler alert.
Press A to talk with Abel. Deceive Abel. Press B to continue.
There we go. I got 40 rupees. Now I can buy a shield. You can't see the Grit Deku tree until you have a sword and shield, because Milo is a jerk. I think that's his name. Milo, the guy, the redhead guarding the entrance to the Great Deku Tree's grounds or whatever. Press R to crouch and defend. If you press R while Z targeting, you can move while defending. Would you like to buy something else? I'd love to, but now I'm broke. Thanks. Early introduction to capitalism. Just go jump around for a while and suddenly you get money. I don't know how it works. I don't know the science behind it. Just know it works. There we go. Now I've got a sword and shield and I can go to the Great Deku Tree. What are you looking up over there? You're looking up the Bible Adventures games?
It is in fact called Bible Adventures.
Yeah, I knew that.
And there are the three games. The one we did not remember was the Moses game, and then they have a David and Goliath game.
I'm assuming in the Moses game...
We remember the Noah's Ark game, and I think you're right. I think part of that is that you do the sheep for part of it. Wow.
What part of the Moses game does Charlton Heston give you a concealed carry permit? Does that come, like, right away, or is that somewhere?
Shortly before the burning bush, because as soon as he sees that bush burning, he's just popping off around.
He's like, I'm about to bust a cap.
He's very much a shoot 'em all, let God sort 'em out kind of guy.
He's ready to go, you know?
I just remember stacking the animals. Remember you could carry like 4 or 5 of them at a time?
Noah carrying, I love the pictures as Noah carrying a stack of animals.
Just as he did in the Bible.
As was the style at the time.
And then there's, one where you go and they attempt to throw Moses into the Nile and you have to go try to retrieve him.
Oh, right. You got to go dig him out. Who do you play as to get...
But I was right.
Are you playing Moses? Like, does Moses go back in time and save his younger self from being eaten by crocodiles in the Nile?
It's very similar to Super Mario 2, the way they carry stuff in that. That's really more what it is.
They dig it up.
But the one I remember, here's where the sheep come into play.
Bible Adventures is yet another reskin of Doki Doki Panic.
It's the 3rd incarnation at least. But David and Goliath does start out with you herding sheep.
Yeah.
I don't know where... eventually you have to avoid predators, but I don't really know... Other than you having a sling to, like, shoot lions... I don't know why that's a David... You never fight a giant, is what I'm saying.
You never fight the Philistines?
You never fight the Philistine.
Well, then what's the point?
I don't know.
That's the whole thing. I had the
anticlimax. That's what proves that it doesn't start out as a David Goliath. So we don't have a Goliath.
Yeah, there's no Goliath. We couldn't afford it. It wasn't part of the other 2 games, so we couldn't fit it in.
Doesn't it involve stacking sheep?
You had to stack Philistines.
It's not in the budget then.
That's what really happened. Is David stacked the Philistines?
I knew I remembered herding a lot of animals, and 2 of them are very animal based.
Onto Noah's Ark, and that's how you beat them.
So I played those a lot.
Because that's what you had, right?
That's what I had. I don't even know where they came from. I just remember they were there.
I have a copy of one of the... holy jeez. Dogs heard something.
Dogs heard something outside.
They're like, I gotta go in the backyard and yell at the neighbors because I hate them.
It's very much that telephone game scene from 101 Dalmatians where the dogs just bark a message across the neighborhood.
Basically, yeah.
That's what I always imagine it is. It's much more cheerful than a bunch of dogs.
So the Nintendo games that I have, I never had a regular Nintendo growing up. I have a collection of Nintendo games that I just got through life.
Oh, sure.
I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and I got them. And now I have them, and I'm not really entirely sure where any of them came from. But one of the things that I have is, how do I use my shield? Oh, there we go.
There it is. You're in the game.
Apparently, I'm slacking, man.
You're down, too, yeah.
All right. You want some? Get some. All right. I have an Indiana Jones game, and it's one of those cartridges that's not licensed by Nintendo.
Awesome.
When you jump off a high cliff, if you hold forward, you will roll on the ground when you land and won't get hurt from the fall. Are we supposed to say control stick out loud? The analog control stick?
The analog.
So I have this game, and it's not licensed by Nintendo. It sucks. And now I see why it's not licensed by Nintendo. It's just not a very good game.
You know, there were a rash, especially on those early systems of games that just really weren't up to standard. And they did a good job of burying quite a few of them, but yeah, some slipped through. They can't all be gems, as it were.
Dude, Nintendo games are weird because there's that Nintendo polish on the first party Nintendo games. Breath of the Wild, look at that. It's practically a perfect game.
It really, you can't say enough positive things about it, really. It has its limitations, sure, but for what it is, it succeeds.
It was supposed to be a Wii U game. It wasn't even supposed to be on the Switch.
Thank the Lord it wasn't a Wii U game.
It is a Wii U game.
Sure. Sure.
But that's an example of Nintendo polish and how they were just on it, right? They took it seriously and said, this is our game, and we're going to put a lot of time into it. You play something else on Nintendo that wasn't made by Nintendo, and it's like...
You feel it immediately.
Yeah, and you're like, all right, so Nintendo cares a lot about what Nintendo makes, but they don't really care a lot about what other people put on their consoles, which I find to be a little interesting.
That is... It is, and yeah, it is.
It's a little weird.
All that works out. Yeah, it's all kind of funny that way. Let's end on this.
You got a recovery heart.
What's your favorite NES game of the one you've, like you said, just kind of across?
Just kind of came across
in your travels.
Hook, the game based on the movie Hook of the same name. It is a good game. It's hard as nails, but it's pretty good.
I don't know that I've played that.
No, play it on the show sometime. Though.
We're gonna have to make some time for that coming up for sure.
Yo, rip Robin Williams. It's a weird way to end things.
That is a weird way to end things.
Bye.